Think Numbers, and welcome to this exercise today where we're going to be looking at working out how to calculate the net income under a number of different scenarios depending on the information in this question. So let's have a quick look at this question. So Juniper Corporation provide the following summary balance sheet information. You've got some asset and liabilities for the 31st of December 2008. You've also got, and that's $2.5 million of total assets and $900,000 of total liabilities. And for the 31st of December 20X9, you've got $3.8 million of total assets and $1.3 million of total liabilities. So the question is, compute the net and that really, for our 31st of December 20X9, is our opening equity balance. So then, if we again go to question A, if Juniper paid no dividends and no additional capital was raised, instead of deducting the 300k, we're going to add it back, because when you move this across to the other side, you're going to have to add that back. And so then y will end up being 3.8 minus 1.3 minus 1.6 plus $300,000 is $1.2 million. C. They paid no dividends but raised $1.5 million via share issuances of additional shares of stock. So again, you should just apply the formula now. Again, we'll just abbreviate this from now on. 3.8 million equals 1.3 million